Hey guys, welcome back to the LFG Energy Podcast. We've all heard the expression or term underdog, and a lot of people acknowledge that they are one at some stage in their life. Today's guest was born an underdog. He came into this world and had to start fighting a lot of personal and environmental adversity from day one of his life here on this planet. And he's an incredible, incredible story and human being. We touched on topics of resilience, beating the odds, all of the essence of what the LFG Energy Podcast is all about. Chris Welton is our guest. He is the host of the CW Clinic. He's a sought after author, speaker. He's also a phenomenal coach that's used all of his life's experiences and hardships in helping others overcome their own. It was a very emotional episode and something that I took so much from just sitting there opposite him for the few minutes that we spent. And I know you guys are going to enjoy it. So let's get into the show. Chris, thanks, brother, for taking time. It's funny because we met at this event. They're in their fifth year, so it must have been 3 or 4 years ago. And this seems to be kind of the annual thing for when we get to finally meet up, but we're going to do something to change that. So Thanks for taking time to sit down with me, brother. Of
course, my pleasure.
One thing that I know about you, and the audience will quickly get to know about you, is that you really embraced the title of underdog, but you were served that title on day one of your life, the first minute of your life. Yeah. And that's how you function, but you've also thrived.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'd say that I was an abused child before I was even born. It's one of the things I talk about is that my mother had a drug addiction and suffered from mental illness and decided to use heroin and other drugs while she was pregnant with me. And that caused me to be born missing half of my left arm. So I was born with a limb difference. I was born super early. I was very small when I was born. As you can tell, that didn't last very long. I'm 6'5" now. So I was born with a chip on my shoulder, right? And back then, there wasn't a lot of, I was born in 1972. So there wasn't a lot of, there wasn't any media or social media to see, is there any other kids being born this way or whatever that was like.
And what was this?
I was born in Pasadena, California. Okay. Yeah. My family lived in Huntington Beach, and Pasadena was the closest hospital at the time. So, and was born as an underdog, chip on my shoulder. And I think that I would learn to be relentless at a young age, right? I learned at a young age to fight and survive. And I think everybody has that in them, right? It just depends how it's drawn out. Well, mine was drawn out my first breath I took, right? First breath I took was like, okay, well, you're going to survive, dude. This is on you, right? You got to do this. And my body and the blessing of God helped me fight through that.
And for a lot of kids growing up, because you and I talked about this a little bit off camera earlier, like we always need to have someone to blame or something to blame for why things aren't the way we want them to be, right? So I have to imagine you're only human and you're a child at the time, as you're growing up. But was there any blame or anger directed at your mom?
Yeah, of course. I mean, once I learned the reasons why, I didn't learn until I was probably about 12 or 13. And when I found out, I had the conversation with my mom. And my mom was going through a really rough patch then. What you have to understand is that most of my life up to that point, I lived in multiple different families' homes. Aunt, uncle, whoever would take me in. My mom was in and out of rehab, or she just didn't want me around. I had a conversation with her, and I sat across the table from her, and I was very upset about something. And I said to her, because I was getting treated differently because of my arm, and I just came at her and I said, I was very up. Why did you decide to do drugs when you were pregnant with me? And she looked at me straight faced across the table and she said, because I didn't want you. I never wanted you, and I still don't want you today. So that was the answer I got at 12 or 13 years old. And when I look back now 40 years ago, I was very up. I really believe that was the drugs talking. I don't think that was my mom speaking that to me, because I have a lot of good memories about my mom too. I'm not trying to say she's walked around and beat me all the time or anything, but they're very intermittent when she wasn't on drugs. And then she drug drugs for such a long time. It just eroded her brain, and it ended up killing her. She ended up getting hepatitis very bad, then got liver cancer from the hepatitis from all the intravenous drug use. So that took her life in 2019.
And I know for a lot of people, forgiveness is a difficult thing.
Yeah.
Has there been a point in your life because she passed 5 years ago?
She passed in 2019. Yeah, she passed 6 years ago, Labor Day weekend 2019.
Okay. So it's been 6 years, and I'm sure there's been lots of reflection and thought, of course, and wave of emotions. Has there been for you, like, kind kind of an
Yeah.
intersection of forgiveness? Or, I mean, because I know forgiveness for a lot of people, when it comes to things that we endured during either our childhood, whether it's in business, in life, the current relationships, the marriages we're in, whatever it is a hard thing to come by, and it's easier said than done.
Yeah, I think there's a couple different types of forgiveness, right? So there's a type of forgiveness where you go, Arjun, I forgive you for the mistakes you made, right? Then there's the type of forgiveness for me was I, in my head, forgave my mom for the things she did, but never had that conversation with her. You have to understand there's about a 15 to 18-year gap, I believe, from the last time I saw her before she died. And I flew out and saw her the day before she died. She was in hospice care and everything. And I had a brief conversation with her, and then she fell asleep, and then she never woke up again. But it wasn't I forgive you or anything else. Um, I went and saw her for me. It wasn't for her, right? Like I needed to make peace for me and at least see her before she was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Any interaction I had leading up to that, there was a couple years before that, she called me out of the blue for something. Um, it was the same thing. The same. She had anger towards me because of my success, because I had made money in my life. Like I was the mean guy, the bad guy, like for some reason, which is crazy because I paid all our bills for a long time. So like I don't know how that all intertwined. I've forgiven her in my head and how I felt.
Mm.
And I've forgiven myself for holding a grudge against her for so long.
And it, obviously this stems like with everything you went through, in life and continue to go through. And we're going to touch on it because you're clearly a man who's very successful. He runs an unbelievable coaching business right now. He affects change in so many special groups of people around the country. He's an author, like all these things. But people might see that and think this guy's, he used that adversity and now he's a winner. But there's been loss along the way. But what does the word adversity mean to you?
Yeah. I mean, I believe it has an evolving definition for me. It's changed over the years. But I can tell you this about adversity. Adversity is a requirement for growth. And there's so many ways adversity affects you in life, whether it's loss of a family member or a job happened, or got into a car accident, or you just faced adversity in the current market we're in, right? So adversity is a requirement for growth. When people realize that, the number one way to handle adversity is to attract adversity in your life. And I don't mean bad decision adversity, but I mean putting yourself in positions that betters you to be able to handle it. Like there's this saying that we do hard things to do hard things.
Yes.
Right. And the people that run from adversity, they're never prepared for the hard things. And we know all those people, right?
Right.
We know everything's a big deal because they never took on the adversity in the first place.
Right.
So adversity has been a requirement for me to grow, but it also required for me to go back and help the people that need my help that are going through adverse situations now.
Some would look at this and say, okay, well, you've made it in life, Chris, and you're continuing to do well because you had adversity that you went through.
Yeah.
I'm someone maybe who's listening to this, because we've got a wide range of people that listen to this in terms of where they're at professionally and in their own development as a human being. They might say, well, I haven't really had any adversity, excuse me. I haven't had any adversity that I faced. So am I going to make it? Or is it going to be, am I just kind of like going to be soft? What do you say to people? Because you coach them.
Yeah,
I say maybe those that have faced lots of adversity, because you obviously epitomize that. So that may be an easier connection versus those who haven't.
The first thing is that if someone's had a lot of adversity in their life, they've understand it was part of it, they're going to have a leg up on you in competition. They just start.
Period.
Yeah, they just start, right? Like I work with some high school athletes that are in some nicer areas.
Sure.
And I work with some high school athletes that are not in the nicest areas. And they're not the nicer area, the kids have a leg up on you on the field. Like because they've been through some shit. Sorry, I don't like to say shit on here now.
You're absolutely. So, this is the Let's Fucking Go podcast.
Okay, you're right. So they've been through some shit. But if you say I've never been through any adversity in my life, I challenge that.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to go back and look back through the years. And just because my adversity was like losing my son in 2020 or being born with one arm, those are major adversities. But it doesn't mean that you haven't been through some adversity. There's been things in your life that have triggered you, right? Or caused you to have a tough time with things. So go back and what lessons did you learn from that, right? But also, again, the intentional adversity. I met a guy who's a billionaire and we're talking, having conversations. I mean, we're talking about his flying his private jet and how concerned he was for his little kids. And he said he puts intentional adversity in their lives. So that's something I follow with my kids now, is I put them in tough situations so they learn from that. And if you say you haven't been through adversity and you like physical challenges or something else, put yourself on a tough spot, right?
Yeah.
Put yourself to push and grow.
That's where it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I watched this line in a movie And it's not a movie that I think anyone maybe listening to this would have caught, but it was called City of Joy. And it was a movie that took place in Calcutta. Patrick Swayze movie. This is how old it is. I'm talking, right? But there was a line at the end of the movie that one of the guys says to the other character, and he says, the gods didn't make it very easy to be a human being sometimes, because we're talking about some really underprivileged people who were born as major underdogs in the slums of Calcutta. And the other guy that he says it to, and he says, yeah, I know, but that's what makes it feel so good to beat the odds.
Yeah.
Right?
Agreed.
Chris, I'm going to try to say this without even getting emotional, man, because as I'm listening to this, like, just as you said that, it took me back to that line that you have endured so much. I mean, to lose a child, to come into the world as an underdog, and I'm sure there's been other losses along the way and other bits of adversity, but yet, knock down 8 times, get up 9 type of mentality. How does someone here listening who maybe hasn't gone through any of that try and take some of that framework and just know, right? Like, anything's possible. It's all out there for you.
Yeah, I hope that someone listening to this understands that regardless of what they've been through, there's opportunity in front of them, right? For me, I could have easily turned around and been like, this happened to me, I'm out. When I was 14 years old, my aunt came to me and she said, if you get in trouble and end up in prison later in life, we're okay with that because we know what a shitty life you've had growing up. And I'm like, what kind of support is that?
Yeah.
But so just tells you what I could have done. I could have said, I have all excuses to go rob a store or do whatever and get myself in trouble. But I never made that. I never made that decision. But I think the key there is that use me as an example of something I've been able to get through and get to. And if you're not going to that direction, then shame on you, right? So, like, I'm a one-armed guy who mixes it up in the gym and works really hard. If you don't get in the gym, you have all your limits and everything are good. You have no excuse, dude. Like, there's no excuse for it.
I can tell you this because I was working out next to this guy this morning, and he was working harder than everybody. So I know that from real life experience. Chris, right now, as a father, as a entrepreneur, as a coach, author, what fuels you now? Because I'm sure early on in life it was maybe selling a score. I'm going to succeed in spite of.
Yeah.
Is it the same today, or what's pushing you?
No, it's changed so much. So, like, when I was 29 years old, I made $1 million for the first time. My whole idea then is I wanted to be on MTV Cribs, right? So I bought this big 6,000 square foot house, and I had 5 cars and all these Rolex watches. And then I spent the whole summer smoking weed in my basement, and I realized I was losing everything that I had because I had, but so that was the driving force then is we didn't have money. So watch me make it, right?
I think at MTV didn't call.
They never called me. They never called me. I'm still waiting, but they haven't called. So I learned that there was more to money at that point, and you're going into other things. But now at this point in my life, I have what's called my burn. Okay. So I'm coached by a guy named Ben Newman. And Ben Newman talks about your purpose and your why and them igniting being more than to become more when they're combined. A lot of people talk, what's your why? What's your purpose? Let's put them both together. So my burn is my son, CJ, because he passed away in 2020. I feel that I connect with him every day in my journal, but I feel that he watches everything I do. There's a tattoo on my arm that says CJ is watching. So this morning, after only having 4 hours sleep last night because I couldn't sleep, I didn't want to go to the gym, but I looked down at my arm and I said, I better go to the gym because CJ's watching, right? I need to be an example to someone who's watching me when nobody else sees what I'm doing. So right now, my driving force is to make sure that I make him proud, live a legacy that'll go back and I know he's looking down on me and he'll be proud of what I'm doing.
Absolutely. God bless him. I hope the man, and he is. Look, everyone's got to find a reason. And I think you have the best one. I mean, what excuse could there ever be?
Yeah.
You see that on your forum every single day. What is it that you feel, adversity aside? Because again, you're around a lot of high functioning people regularly, right? And whether you are listening to this as a college student, as an athlete, someone who's trying to make it in the professional world, what do you see as the thing in today's society that's holding people back the most? That's not adversity related. Maybe it's something personal.
I mean, so many people, there's a couple different things there. Can I go a couple different, please? Okay. So the first thing I talk with a lot of my clients about, and then a lot of the athletes too, we spoke the other day on stage about this, was Stop worrying about everyone else's opinion of yourself because they don't care about you anyways. Too many people hold back going for something because they're worried about what Aunt Barb's going to say or Joe or whoever, right? And once I figured that out and didn't care about that anymore, I realized that's exactly true. People don't care about you that much. So go after your dreams and go after what it is that you want to do. The other thing is the ceiling that we're put on ourselves by people growing up.
Mm.
Like I had this ceiling put on me, and I told this long story the other day. Speaking of the football players, I played high school football, and my last day of high school football, we're suiting up in the locker room at senior night, and I'd worked really hard to make the team all through high school with one arm. And as we're walking into the stadium, the crowd's cheering and the band's playing, and I went to Bishop Moore Catholic High School in Orlando, so it was just a great football school. Um, all of a sudden, it got quiet. And all I could hear were all the excuses I'd made to myself over the last several years playing football on why I shouldn't be a starter, on why it was okay that I was sitting the bench, because all I really cared about was making the team. I didn't care about getting on the field and making an impact. There was a ceiling put on me by so many people saying, oh, well, a one-armed kid can make the team, but he can't play. And I believe that. So how many ceilings are put on you by people in your life that you care about, that you think care about you, and they say, you're going to do okay, but we'll see what happens. Andy Frisella is a guy that I count as a mentor in my life. And Andy says, he always talks to us all the time. People in his life for years would say, Andy, when are you going to get a real job? Andy's worth like $500 million now, right? So like, when are you going to get a real job? Are you still living in the back of your super supplement superstore trying to pay your bills? So I believe that's a big thing right now for people is someone putting a ceiling on them and then believing that ceiling is all they can do, right? The limited beliefs, we see it every day. You see it in your staff. I see it in mine and people I coach. What's the number one obstacle is overcome the limiting beliefs.
When you see or when you take a look at yourself right now, is there anywhere in your life where you feel like things aren't really going up, but really aren't right now up to standard?
Yeah.
I know you have high standards of yourself because when you accomplish what you've accomplished in spite of things or because of things, however we want to look at it and frame it, you start to build some armor here. But we're all human, and there's still losses along the way. Is there anything you're going through right now that's requiring you to tap into that resilience all over again, and you're fighting the same adversity battle?
There really is. And historically, I can look back at every time I was getting ready to win really big, I sabotaged myself.
Mm.
And what I've done over the last few months is I've sabotaged myself with my health, my nutrition. I've eaten a lot of bad food the last several months, and I haven't been on a disciplined diet. Um, because if something big's getting ready to happen, I've noticed that I do things like that in case it falls through, then I can blame it on my diet or I can blame it on I didn't do the extra work. This is real stuff. This is real stuff right now.
Real
right?
stuff.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Like you're actually thinking of it out that way. That
Yeah.
if I eat like this, I've got my out.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like I'm doing everything I can to get on as many big stages as possible right now. I did just land a TED Talk, which is awesome. I'm going to do that in August.
Amazing.
But I haven't been getting as much traction. But then all of a sudden now I'm starting to get some traction for some October, some big events, some things are starting to happen. And then I noticed I'm not taking care of myself to the level I was before, just in case things fall apart. So that's something I deal with a lot, for sure.
And for people that do this, that get in this pattern, how do you break it? Right? Like, what do you do to break that? What are you doing to make sure that this cycle eventually is no longer?
Yeah. I think the cycle will be there forever. I just have to find ways to navigate through it because I've done it before. I've turned it around before. And luckily I have two really good coaches and mentors in my life, right? That when I tell them what's going on, then they will shift everything and focus on what needs to be done, right? So I'm training for this crazy competition later this year, and that's really a requirement to make it to that event.
Right.
Will be to get down about 25 pounds and make sure my nutrition is good, or I'll never get through it. So it's like, okay, well, here's a marker. I have to chase it now.
You have to really go after it now.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to set goals.
Yeah.
Right. Is there anything now in your life that you feel, and because of everything you've accomplished, like nothing's impossible? Like literally nothing's impossible. Or do you feel that there is anything out there still that's like, I don't know about that?
Without trying to sound arrogant, I don't I don't think so. Like I
Yeah.
like I can go back, and when I say I'm going to do something, I will do it.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to figure out a way to get there and do it. You know, in 2023, I left this great corporate job in the mortgage industry. I had the glass corner office that everybody wants, unbel- unlimited vacation time, made a great living. Like I could have worked there until I retired. And then I woke up one day and realized that 10% of the people in my company wanted to be led into a net something bigger. 90% wanted a paycheck, and I didn't want to spend the next 20 years of my life doing that. So I walked away from this incredible job and bet everything I had, invested a bunch of money to become a coach and an author and a speaker. And now I'm a coach, an author, and a speaker.
Those are your calling, right?
Yeah. So what's next, right?
Yeah.
So how do I grow that? How do I take that somewhere else?
You said something beautiful at the start of this before we turn the mics on, that because of how you came into this world,
Yeah.
this life that you have, it wouldn't have been the same
No.
if you had come in with two arms, right?
Yeah. So I was born not with a disability, but an extreme advantage over everybody else.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is that because I was born the way that I am, I struggled with adversity in life early on just to survive. So that gave me a leg up, right? So now I have this advantage and that I can walk into a room and I have more confidence than most people have, right? Because I've overcome things to earn the right to be confident.
Yeah.
And I look at it as a blessing, right? Like I could look at it as, oh, it holds me back or whatever. And I did for a lot of my life. I settled for a lot of things. I settled for the wrong relationships. I settled for being treated a certain way because I thought that's all I was worth. And then when I realized I was worth more than that, I think I was about 40 years old when I finally realized that. And I just turned my life around. I'm like, well, I'm just going to start going for everything else. And then I met my wife, who's like a 12, like she's way too hot for me. And I asked her on a date, and we've been together 13 years, and we have a beautiful son. Our son CJ's in heaven, but we have a son named Leo. And I would have never been able to marry somebody to that standard if I hadn't decided I was worthy of more.
You are. And now it's all about impact, right? With everything that you're doing. And what is, when it comes to impact, and you're having a lot of it, like, again, if you don't, you'll know who Chris Welton is at the end of this episode, guys. But for those of us that do know him, he's someone that we all look up to in our industry, but even outside that industry, just as an incredible human being. I've asked a few of my guests this question, and it's a personal answer.
Yeah.
So there's no right or wrong answer. But when we pass away, when we reach the end of our life and our kids or grandkids or whoever is going to be there as children or offspring, children of children, are going to be in attendance, whether it's 5 people or 5,000 or 500,000, in your case, probably. If there's one word you want everyone to remember Chris's life by, do you have an idea of what that word might be? Or one word that you want them to remember you by, or no? Like when you thought of Chris, you thought of this, you connected with this.
Can't think of one word, Arjun. That's tough. One word, what I want to be known for. I mean, what I feel like I'm most known for right now is overcoming adversity.
Sure.
Right. But I would love for my grandkids to say, well, grandpa's a badass, right? Like, to me, that would be massive respect that grandpa was a badass. But I definitely want to be known for whatever I say I'm going to do, I do. Right. Because growing up the way I did, my mom would say things and not follow through. Right. Like Christmas morning one year, I woke up, all the presents were gone. She'd stolen everything and went and sold it all for drugs. Right. So and then she was gone for a week. Right. So I don't want to be known for anything like that. Right. So I want to be known that for when people say Chris says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. And I try to be that example, man. I mean, I really do every day.
Oh, you do, man. And I'm very proud to know you. I call you a friend and someone I look up to and admire. And I know tens of thousands of others around the country all feel the same. Chris, one of the last questions we always ask, again, no right or wrong answer for it, but you are the epitome of resilience in so many ways, man, and battling through adversity. Like you are a mantra for LFG Energy, right?
Yeah.
The whole theme of this podcast. And I already told you, it stands for let's fucking go up and go.
Yeah.
What does LFG mean to you? Again, no right or wrong answer, but what does it mean to you?
What does let's fucking go mean to me?
Yeah.
I mean, I use that phrase a lot in the unseen times. I don't do it on my social media. I probably should more.
You can't.
But man, when I'm on, like when I get out of bed and I'm ready to go, I'm a let's fucking go guy. Like I don't need a cup of coffee to be moving forward, right? Like the fact I have my feet on the ground is just another win for me, right? And I constantly try to find wins throughout the day. Like yesterday, I was on the elevator with these 3 teenage boys, and we're coming from the 59th floor where my room's at. And we made it all the way to the second floor without stopping. I'm like, let's fucking go, man. That's a win, dude. 59 to 2, that's a win. You know, I mean, we could have stopped at 20 different floors on the way down. These kids are looking at me like I was crazy. But so I think let's fucking go is just I mean, that's just a driving force. That's something that to be excited about.
Yeah.
I think that's, I would like to say I'm a let's fucking go guy.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, that's untested here, or I should say unchallenged here, man. You are without a doubt.
Well, thank you.
Okay, that's unanimous. Well, Chris, I appreciate you taking time, brother.
Cool,
Your
man.
story is beautiful. You're an incredible human being. Again, someone that's inspired so many, and you'll continue to do it. And I just appreciate all that you're putting out into the university, man, or into the universe, because you are you're the example that your biography doesn't have to be your destiny,
Yeah.
and you'll make of this life whatever you choose to, in spite of whatever.
Yep.
You're the walking, beating example of that, man. So God bless you. God bless your son,
Thank you.
CJ,
God bless you.
and everything else that you're doing, and all the things that you're touching, man. And I look forward to sitting down and doing this with you again.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it for your